Hello everyone, and welcome to the final installment of our City and Guilds Kineo Totara User Group webinar series. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. You join us today with Andy Cook, who's Channel Partner Manager at Totara Learning Solutions. Today he's going to be talking through Totara 2.7, some of the newer additions to this version, and he's also going to be showing us a lot more about Totara Social and giving us a sneak peek into this wonderful social learning tool. So with that in mind, I will hand over to Andy. Hello, Andy.
Hi, Ashley. Hello, everybody. I will start sharing my screen now and we will press on. So thanks for coming along. I hope you found the other two sessions useful and I hope you find this one useful too. So let me just jump into my screen.
Andy, sorry, could you just mute your speakers? We're getting a bit of a loop of your video there.
Is that me that you're getting it from, Ashley?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look.
Sorry, everyone.
Hopefully that's okay. Maybe you could give me a quick nod in the chat box there, Ashley, and we'll try again.
I'm still getting an echo my end.
Hopefully it's just enough to hear me once rather than an infinite amount of time. So if somebody could just give me a nod. Okay.
Okay.
All good with Paul.
Some of our other attendees say that they can hear you absolutely fine, so we'll just keep on going.
Okay. Right, well, thanks again, Ash, for asking me to this session. It's actually going to comprise three sections as we will be looking at just a little recap of what we brought into version 2.6. Apologies for some of the Kineo staff who are attending this, who probably know all of this, but I don't think it will harm. Just to recap where we are, and some of it will actually lead into the next part of the story, the next part of the session, where I'm going to talk about some of the things that are coming in version 2.7. And we're going to be having a very early look at Totara Social, which is a new product that we are launching from November available. So you are the first people to see it and first time I presented it. So that's quite exciting. So yeah, three sections to this talk. Now, I'm sure there might be coming along and Ashley can collate some of those. And what I thought we could do is at the end of each section, just recap and go through any questions you might have, answer them if I can, or investigate further for following up from Ashley. Okay, so it's always good to review where we are and where we're heading. So version 2.6 came out in May, so it's about 6 months now. We typically have a 6-month release cycle with new versions of Totara. And so I was going to just show you some of the highlights, I suppose, the more visual highlights, the things that are probably nice to demonstrate in a webinar session of what we developed in 2.6. So as you can see there, an editable interface, the ability to upload icon sets to courses and programs and associated certifications, enhanced catalogue with a faceted search. That's a way of saying there's a more sophisticated search capability within Totara now. Self-registration and the ability at the same time to choose where you sit in the organization as well. And a responsive theme that we brought out and we'll be adding final polish to in the next release. And just a little update there, kind of hot off the press. We've taken a decision because of the demand to support Internet Explorer 8 in version 2.6. The point release came out this week, so from that point, and also looking at supporting that in 2.7. And I think a lot of people will welcome that if you're, in inverted commas, stuck on Internet Explorer 8 or aren't able to upgrade. You have some time to kind of to factor that in, and we will support that, even though the underlying system isn't supported longer and no Microsoft. So that, I think that's a nice advance. I just wanted to get that in, put it in red letters, because I know a lot of people have been asking about it, and it is problematic. Organizations into the latest version of IE. Okay, so what we developed in the last version was an editable interface, and this was really a first step towards a more fully customizable, editable menu that we're bringing in 2.7. But the concept being that, you know, let's admit it, at this stage, Totara does a lot of things, and not every organization wants to use all of those things. So you can actually hide features if you wish, turn things off, just, you know, make certain things visible and certain things not. Just jump in and do a quick view of that for you. So just jumping into a live site. So if we go down to the site administration, and just a quick note here for awareness, those of you that are using the system in an admin point of view, a lot of the new features that we bring in, you will find sitting under advanced features, maybe until such time they find a better home. But just to be aware, you'll find a lot of the newer things sit in that area. So under advanced features, we can just scroll down a little or a lot, and then we get down to some of the things we might want to turn on or off. A typical organization is using, but maybe you're not ready for using performance management. So we can hide elements of that. So we could hide it, choose to disable it so administrators can see it, visible to the general audience using the system. But you can go through and hide things. Similarly, you might be using learning programs, or you might be only using certifications and not learning plans. So you can choose to cherry pick some of those things you might want to hide or display. Save those changes. And because of that and all the performance management type of functionality, it's actually hidden it from menu, so it becomes less confusing for people until such time you're ready to kind of start using that functionality. Okay, people like, but we did start to realize that people were probably getting a bit tired of our existing icon set that we had. There's probably only so many times you can use a group of disembodied heads or calculators or targets and things like that to illustrate you know, icons for courses. So you can now upload your own. So you can have much targeted and relevant icons for your own courses and programs and so on. So again, just jumping back into a live site here. So back into the live site. Again, under site administration, under courses, there is an area that says icons. And at this point, you can upload your own. What I've just put in here are a couple of our icons to illustrate the types of partners in the partner network, but obviously put in whatever you need that illustrates best the types of courses and learning that you offer. And then jumping into actually where you might see those icons into find learning. As you may be familiar, the find learning comprises the ability to search for courses, programs, or certifications. And it leads me to the next point in one of the things that we developed in 2.6, and this was the enhanced catalogue, or faceted searching, whatever you want to call it. Again, there was a real need there to have a much more enterprise type of capacity searching system. So it brings you out of the restrictions of being able to only search across categories, for example. You can search across the whole site. I'll just reset that search. So you can search across everything. And further than that, If I can just reset this one. You can introduce your own custom fields. So some examples I've put in here. You can put in, for example, you can define what these custom fields are, but you might want to be able to identify learning from a particular provider. You might want to be able to identify learning to do with particular accreditation. You might want to find learning for particular levels of expertise. So all of those things are very flexible. You can define the kind of ways that the course can be searched, and that's very good for the end user to be able to use it as you really want from a catalogue, to be able to browse it. Similarly, you can search for types of content. So as you may be familiar, every lecturer can be displayed by a particular icon. So when you're working through a course, you see an icon next to the activity type, whether it's a forum or a quiz or a face session. So you can get a view there for the types of learning that might be in a particular course. You can filter that. Okay, you might just want to search for things that have SCORM packages in them, reduces it down significantly. In the background as well, you've also got a way of categorizing courses by type. So we have e-learning, which of course you'd consider fully online type of material approach, things that might also include face-to-face sessions, or equally just face-to-face sessions themselves. So that's just another way of searching across the system for that kind of information. Another thing we brought in was self-registration, which is already there, of course, but the ability to choose your organisation, your position, and even your manager. Now, this might not suit for everybody, which comes with a caution, because what it does, it opens up visitors to your site, to your whole organisational structure, the jobs, the positions, the managers, and possibly personal data in that sense. But there are use cases where organizations want to open this up to other stakeholders, or to have the ability for customers to register themselves and that process of choosing what their organization and position and who their manager might be. So you would see that in a live site, and off, of course. So if I were to log out of this system and then try getting back in, it's a case of creating a new account, going in, putting in the details, and at this stage you can choose a position or the organization, and it brings you up to the standard browsing interface of the directory, the tree, so you could choose where you were. But as you can see, of course, it exposes to a wider audience the your organization. So if that's something that you want to do and you want to enable that for your users, it's quite a nice way of being able to manage administratively this process. We'll just log back in. Okay, we also brought a responsive theme. In the previous version, we called it experimental. So in the next version, that will be a default theme now. So we have a responsive kiwi fruit theme and a responsive standard theme, and they can be used as a baseline from which to develop your own theme. And by responsive, of course, I'm sure you know that means that the system will scale to different devices. If you're on a mobile device, if you're on a phone or a tablet and so on, it will scale without the scrolling and losing I suppose, the integrity of the view. So that's something else that we brought in again in the version. That will be a standard feature. So that's just a recap, I suppose, fairly whistle stop of some of the, as I said, visual things I can demonstrate. There are a lot more, and I would encourage you, if you are existing subscribers to Totara, or if you're partners like some of the Kineo team, you can see the release notes and full feature descriptions at that link there. Just a reminder, the support for Internet Explorer 8 is in place, which was very welcome by a lot of people. If you're not using that community site and you are a Totara subscriber, you could speak with Kineo about getting access to that, or speak with them for a summary of those features that have come on board. Now, I can see a few questions coming up here, so let me just take a look, see if I can open that up. I can't actually see the questions there. Ashley, I don't know if you could have a quick look through some of them.
Would you like me to feed them through to you? Yeah, so we've got David asking, is it possible what new registrations can
the
see?
The screen that I've got is not really letting me see Adobe Connect very well, so maybe if you're able to jump out any questions that I could have a look at now.
Yeah, can you hear me, Andy?
Into the second, which is what's coming, so 2.7 and a little bit further beyond. It's always nice to see what the plans are. But yeah, if you're able to just, Ashley, I'm not sure if you're picking those up or not. Okay. Right, I can see. Means for now you've got that not so pretty view of my working slides. So let me take a look. And obviously put my speakers back on for a second without giving everybody a big sound clash. Oh.
Can you hear me now, Andy?
I can, yeah. Thanks, Ashley. But you're probably I better mute myself.
No, you're absolutely fine. So if I just ask you David's question.
Okay, there's been some interesting comments there. I've just first comment about disembodied head, so maybe we'll move on swiftly from that one.
Yeah, David's wondering, is it possible to limit what level on the hierarchy?
What level on new registrations can see? So I guess, for example, you don't want people to see, certain parts of the workforce. Well, at the moment, it's all or nothing without customization. There's nothing to switch on. As you say, you can't see what the CEO and the senior management team is set up as. So it's kind of an all or nothing, really. Is there a minimum size for the screens? Well, I took it down to sort of ridiculously small when I've been playing around with it, but I could check what the sort of minimum recommended screen sizes would be that it would accommodate. Okay. I think that's all of the questions there. Just otherwise, people saying in agreement, discussion about hierarchy levels and so on, and limiting the choices. Yeah. Okay then. Right. Well, let's jump back into section 2 of this presentation. We're approaching the next release of Totara, so that will be version 2.7, and yeah, what I wanted to here was really just talk through some of the things that we're going to be bringing out. Again, really influenced by customer feedback and partner input. I think one of the themes really this year is to be looking at adding polish to the system, perhaps a deeper look at the product rather than going wider. So things that we'd be bringing on board: appraisal improvements, face-to-face improvements, open badges reporting, graphical reporting, which has been a much requested feature, and a fully customizable menu, so extending on from what we just looked at in the first part of this session. Again, you can see details of the new features that are coming, what it will entail at the community forums, so the link is there for that. Just try and bring that one up for you. Okay, it's just will let me. Here we go. Right, so in this and under the Totara community, you'll find a page that tells you about forthcoming features in 2.7. Again, I think it would be good to have a look at this if you haven't already, or have a chat with Kineo about things that are coming up. So in here, you'll see there's detail about the appraisals, and over the next couple of days, there's going to be more detail about what I'm just talking about in this session as well. Gives you a chance to get involved, ask questions about it. Nothing's set in stone, so we always do welcome your feedback about various aspects of the functionality, different use cases, and so on. So just to bear in mind, that page is worth taking a look at. Okay, just check for any questions there. Is there any other points from anybody?
Nope, I think we're all set here. Thanks, Sandy.
Okay, right. Okay, we'll just go to the presentation now. So about what's coming. So I've mentioned some of these things. Don't have any live things to show you as yet, but I've got a couple of screenshots. I think that we're very, pretty happy to share at this stage. Firstly, appraisal improvements. As I said, lots of user feedback on this. We released performance management in version 2.5. I think it was a good step into the performance management field for Totara. So it's not just an LMS now; it has performance management functionality. But certainly there are areas that needed to be improved and rounded out, and we've made some progress on that. Again, lots of feedback from partners and customers around this. And there will be a patch version 2.6 for these features as well. So it's not provisional on you having to upgrade to 2.7. But some of the improvements around the activation process. So activating appraisals, we've introduced a warning trigger if appraisals are missing particular information, a manager hasn't been assigned, those sorts of areas. Assignment improvements. So a new appraisal will be automatically created when users are added to groups. So those groups couldn't fit that all in the slide, but those groups will be audiences, organization levels, individuals. When they're added, an appraisal will automatically be created for them. And some report improvements, aggregating reporting really of closed appraisals that have been closed, a report to display the closed appraisals. So generally previously might have been either too specific or too wide. So I think there's some improvements to how reporting can be handled. Face-to-face, this is quite an important part of the system, really, increasingly so. And again, just to sort of reiterate the point, lots of feedback and use cases from other partners and clients about how this part of the system could be made better, and I think it will be all the more powerful for it. So some of the things that you'll be seeing, a session note field on sign up of an appraisal of a face-to-face session, so the learner can enter any special requirements, dietary needs, disabilities, whatever it may be. Session self-approval, so an individual can automatically approve the face-to-face. Declare an interest in the session. Now this is as distinct from the waitlist process that we have, so they can now declare an interest in the session and be booked in future. Cut-off date and a minimum session capacity. We've had maximum session capacities before, but this seems logical, but this wasn't in place, but we have that now. And the cut-off date by which time the face-to-face can be booked, which is important, rather than people going to the last minute. The face-to-face enrolment plugin, and also an enrolment integration via the course catalogue. Those two, I think, will be a big step forward. Again, just thinking about how content is handled in Totara, the concept of activities, so whether it is a discussion or a file upload or a wiki or whatever it may be, well, a face-to-face is just an activity as well. So there has been confusion before around the workflow of getting somebody actually enrolled in the face-to-face, which means getting them enrolled into the course as well. So this will help around that, getting them actually into the course in order to actually benefit from the face-to-face session and the communication around it as well, and any completion criteria that is needed as a result. And also the ability for users to pick a position when they're enrolling. This could be good for separating out for financially for cost center allocation, for example. New report source is Open Badges. As again, you may recall, we developed Open Badges integration for Moodle and for Totara for version 2.5 based on the Mozilla Open Badges framework. Again, it's just part of the stage of rounding this out now, and a report source for this is a natural thing to want to be able to do a report on who's achieved badges, or conversely who hasn't, any particular status of those badges, that kind of scenario. Then we're sort of getting on to some of the juicy stuff. So graphical reporting, I think lots of people have asked about this one, and we're finally at a position to be able to produce a solution for this. I think it's pretty good, just to be able to by particular reporting criteria to be able to present something graphically in different types of graphs. Just gives a nice visual, really. So here we have some examples that you can see. Again, I haven't got a live site to show you yet, but just a screenshot from one that was put together. Okay, so there are sort of three elements to this. So there's a report aggregation. So the way it works, it will aggregate the report data via the interface. Quite complex how it works in the background, and quite not enough time really to explain that, but we will do more detailed sessions on this because it is quite a good addition to the system. Then there's report graphing, so it will support columns, well, as you can see from those examples, line graphs, horizontal bars, scatter charts, pie charts, the whole expected range of being able to represent visually data. And again, what you may notice here is that these are blocks. So we created a report graph block. So from that, you can choose the block and the type of display you want it to appear as. And at the same time, it's essentially creating a kind of administrator's dashboard as well. So an administrator might have those visible in one place for them, and this is the sort of information that he or she needs to be able to access. They are dynamic, so as data changes, of course, they change. And just a page here, you'd expect, you expect it to be in the place where the other parts of reporting are. So it sits in the report builder area, and there's a new column called graph. So you can choose your graph type, you can choose the orientation, the data sources, pulling in different data sources and so on, and build it in the same way that you would build other reports. So it doesn't necessarily just have to be for an administrator. It can be devolved down to other parts of the hierarchy, as you would when you're creating any other report and just determining who can access it. So that's graphical reporting. There'll be a lot more on that shortly in the run-up and the release of 2.7, but I think it's something that has been asked for a long time, and now we've got it. I think it's another good course. So I'd welcome your comments on that as well.
Andy, just a quick question from Darren on
fully
the
customizable menu is another one, as I say, extending on from the early work we did in the last version about being able to hide different elements of the system. Well, we've gone further with that now. So an administrator can much more roundly customize the contents of the Totara menu. Perhaps they can reorder items if they want to. You can show or hide items from the main screen, and of course create custom menu items, point to a URL, and if you want to, you can have them to open in a new window. Okay, and here's just a screenshot of the sort of admin side of that. So as you can see here, you can hide things just with the standard I to turn it off, hide things, reorder it, and you can add new ones as well. Okay, right, now I'm going to just attempt to look into these questions again. My machine doesn't really seem to be liking this, but the third part of the session will look at Totara Social, and we will be able to get into a live site as well for that. But let me just have a little check and see if there are any questions jumping out. Okay, I can see there are a few, so that's good. Let me backtrack. Right, okay. Pose those questions to Andy in a moment. All right, so a couple of questions there. I believe the 2.6 patch is and has this changed. I will check for you. I didn't know that to the contrary, but I'll check, David. So that's another one to follow up for you. The patch is certainly there, but about the supporting of that. Do I know if managers can be changed as mid-appraisal or at mid-appraisal? No, I don't know about that one either. I'll have a look for you. Any good examples of Totara clients using badges in anger? So we have some examples. People in the healthcare sector using it. Clients I could tell you about off this session. Might need to check with them first. And don't forget, Totara Learning Solutions are using this as well. So we have Totara, which is a certification program for people. It might be partners, or it might be customers of Totara, subscribers who want to sort of evidence their understanding of Totara. I mean, we're kind of at a position now of 520 different organizations using the system, and that reaches into millions if they were all using it at this. There's a lot of people, so there is demand now for expertise, as we're seeing people are moving between organizations. We're often getting queries about any Totara who might be interested in jobs, that sort of thing. So they take with them, and and use in a CV, or just to provide some evidence about the Totara understanding. So we're using it in anger, if you like, if you want to put it that way. That's something that all Kineo staff are able to take part in, and any of your customers. BMI Healthcare is an example, yeah, so that's a Kineo client. A technical question from Darren about, does the graphical reporting put any additional loads on the hosting environments? So it does put some, depending on the, I suppose, the you're trying to gather, and I'm just getting up to speed with some of the finer points of the reporting, Darren, but it's recommended to do report 500, do them in batches of 500. And there are some other recommendations about improving the performance of that, which I can tell you a bit more about. Got a few documents I could share with you, Darren. Okay, super. Well, that gives me a bit of time now to look at to social. Right, let me just jump back into my slides here. I think this is the thing that people have really been looking forward to for some time, and we've, it's been in a gestation and development period for a while as well. But really going back to when Totara learning management system was established, we had it in mind really that there was a demand for social learning. Just as a bit of background, the chief executive of Totara Learning Solutions was the project leader for Mahara, an open source e-portfolio system way back in New Zealand, and was instrumental in developing that for the academic sector. But much like we saw the potential really for Moodle to be developed for the corporate space in an enterprise environment, we've seen the same kind of, the same possibilities really for an enterprise social learning system that's part e-portfolio, part social learning tool, and this is what we've developed. So Totara Social, you can see it from the screen there. It could be a standalone product, or it could be a companion application to Totara Learning Management System. We'd like that to be a companion, but you do have the choice. Now, it is a very early look, as I mentioned. It's not even available yet. We're currently working with partners who are just evaluating the tool, and from November the 1st, it's available as a free trial up until the 31st of March. I don't think that's a surprise for you Kineo staff here. We've probably talked about this. It gives people the opportunity for the first round of feedback and iterations of the product. There will be lots more development for it. It's available at the same price points as the learning management system, which you can probably you could see on our website. But if it's taken as a bundle, so LMS plus social, then there's 25% discount. But at this stage, we really value your feedback, and that especially from clients as well, which is why we're offering this ability to kind of get into the product in a meaningful way beyond a sort of 30-day trial, if you like. So some of the influences on the system, there's the 70-20-10 framework, and the idea of a lot of learning being experiential in the workplace, not so much or not always about sitting in a formal classroom setting. The 70-20-10 model isn't an exact ratio, but generally, the research suggests that people do learn from their peers. They learn more from their peers and through experience than necessarily sitting on a course away from the workplace. Social learning certainly is an influence on the product. Professional networking, if you're thinking of LinkedIn, and most of us would be using LinkedIn these days, and you're just generally taking all that into account, a changing nature of the way we work and the way we learn. And this isn't just what we think people would like, it's what people have been asking for. We're seeing it, customer demand for that, and we're seeing it in RFPs, requests for proposals and things like that. It does come up. So what we've developed, it's intended, I suppose, to complement the structured formal learning and in simple terms, you might see that taking place through Totara, perhaps, or through the face-to-face functionality. So this will complement it, which is why we say the two systems could be used in unison. And you can record, organise, find knowledge, find expertise. I wouldn't quite say it's a talent management system, but I can certainly see uses for that you can find and unlock skills and pools of knowledge within your organisation. And we hope it's a user-friendly system that's enabling peer-to-peer networking. I was aware of some of City and Guilds Kineo's clients, such as EasyJet, which is one example. Kineo certainly have experience of delivering these sorts of solutions, or being aware of these kind of social learning and experiential learning frameworks that are out there. One example, as I say, being EasyJet, and Kineo developed resources and the platform in Totara LMS to meet some of those needs. So Totara, of course, does have social learning tools within it. It has a wiki and a blog, and things can be rated and what have you. But now we do have a purpose-built platform, and already we've got people ready to sign up for it and ready to use it, because it is meeting their needs quite closely, sometimes more so than the learning management system. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. So if we have a look, let's jump in and have a look. I've got my slides here, but I think these slides will probably be more useful just as a follow-up, really. So what I'm going to do is just go into the live site and work through it that way. So won't have to keep flicking between the two. I can jump into a live site now and we'll have a look. Just get rid of this and go to live site. As the added bonus of now being able to properly see your questions. Easier. Okay. Ashley's going to circulate a case study from EasyJet. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to take you through some of the features of the system at a high level. Things already are changing with the product, so just to bear in mind, it will be developing, and some focus on the user experience as well. When you land in the system, you've essentially got a personal feed, and you can think along the lines of Facebook. You can do a status update. It's pretty community of me, really, in my test site, but I'm sure you'd have something much more vibrant when you're using it. But to update your status here, put comments in on particular other people's statuses, like them, watch them for any other updates, things that you're particularly interested in. And if we go into content, really one of the tenets of the system is that the learner can upload their content, and that might be driven from organizational imperatives to, it might be because they have to evidence particular understanding or things to do with accreditation, or they might want to actually create a space that's personal to them, which comes back to some of the underpinning theories, really, of e-portfolios. It's a personal element, and you can extend that concept to the workplace as well. Things that you might have achieved and completed in your learning management system, you can actually display them in different required contexts in Totara Social. So some of the content upload files, and any type of file type you'd imagine, really. You can embed media from sites if you wish to do that. There's a blog functionality, so that extends throughout the site. You can create blogs for different audiences and different purposes. And then there are some other concepts like a to-do list. I suppose that is self-explanatory, but We also have things like ideas and questions. So just pick out a couple of them for you. Ideas, you might have seen similar things with voting systems for features, for software features, and it's something we're interested in exploring ourselves, to kind of keep the feedback from users about how the product is developing. So you could see it as one of those sorts of using the system, proposing different features and seeing what the votes are. So you can create an idea, share it out with people, and they can vote on it, yes or no. Comment. So they're the ideas that you might be able to put forward, and it can be an idea of any kind, and the value in it is the feedback, because you can put it out to different groups or individuals or the whole channel, everybody in your organization if you wish. You can display some of this content, write this content with the system. You can think a little bit more cohesive. They can export their data and bring them into this system, and that's a nice way to quickly import content into that. So yeah, I think I'll wind up now. I'm just getting a note from Ashley that we've just about hit time. Hope you like the system. If you wanted to find out more, have us at Kineo. 1st of November, it's there to and test it out. It is a very early days, and there'll be more development, and with feedback from the user community, I think we can really get this, doing a really good job, doing what a lot of people are asking for. The integration with Totara LMS will come as well. So it should be a risk, I think. And yeah, thanks for listening. Okay. I think there's some questions. I think there's one or two here. A question about the integration points between Totara and Social. So we'll be building that up. Previously, I think there's been MNet being used for Moodle and Hara. So we're actually building something ourselves. But typical workflows might be, for example, open badges. You receive a badge by completing a course in Totara LMS, and you can push that out into Totara Social and display that, so it can become like a display environment. So that's one example, Tony. And there will be lots happening basically over the next few months between November and March. So we'll keep in touch, I think, and we'll definitely do some more detailed sessions, Tony, over the next couple of months around the product. Okay, I think that's everything there. I will put my audio on and just so I can hear you again, Ashley. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope you found it useful, and you'll have the slides to review. Happy to take any other questions that arise, or Ashley might be able to forward some for me. So thanks everyone.
Yeah, just the same from us here at City and Guilds Kineo. Thank you so much for joining us along this whole Totara webinar series journey. We hope you've found it useful. This webinar has been recorded, so if you do want to share with anybody or you want to show them a little bit more about Totara Social, then that will be available in an email that we'll send to you in the next day or so. Just really want to say a big thank you to all of our presenters, and also Andy Kirk for taking the time to actually show us this really powerful learning platform and some new stuff on 2.7 as well. It looks like a really exciting and dynamic platform, Andy. So thanks so much for sharing.
Welcome. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Fantastic. Have a great day, everyone.